I said last week. I gave in. I gave in last week. Yes, I'm totally in on Jalen Hurts right now, and that's that. I know they have not been tested yet by a really good team, but the way this offense, the confidence they're playing with, absolutely, I'm in.
Welcome back to the Upon the Hockey post-game show. I'm Devin Caney, and guys, it is time for Devin's Diamond Debate presented by Mark's Jewelers. Mike, I know you were asking me in the break, where's the bling? It's on my ears today.
It's the earring shot today. You can look closely at the earring she's rocking.
And it worked out because it's how many points the Commanders put up in the first half. Just two big zeros.
Oh, two big zeros. I see what you did there. So that is all diamond you're wearing around your ears.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make it clear. What is our debate for today?
So today's Diamond Debate is 3 games in, 3 wins into the season for the Eagles. Has Jalen Hurts done enough? Has he shown you enough to solidify himself as the franchise guy? Had a good game. He took a little bit to heat up today. 22 for 35, 340 yards. He did have that slow start, didn't put up any points in the second half. How are you guys feeling about it?
I said last week. I gave in. I gave in last week, yes. I'm totally in on Jalen Hurts right now, and that's that. I know they have not been tested yet by a really good team, but the way this offense, the confidence they're playing with, absolutely, I'm in.
There's no question. I think he's answered all of the initial questions that you wanted a young quarterback to answer through 3 games so far. He's playing with a lot more poise. He plays with a lot better decision-making mechanism in his head in terms of making decisions quickly and accurately. He can kill you in so many different ways. It's not just his arm. It's with his legs as well. He makes a defensive coordinator have nightmares in terms of how do you defend this guy right now. So right now through 3 games, and I know everybody out there is throwing out the franchise word right now. Based on a 3-game performance, yes, as we sit here right now, Jalen Hurts is your franchise quarterback.
Back in 2020, after 4 games, Carson Wentz was struggling. And after that 4th game, in post-game, I said, guess what, guys? The Eagles have a quarterback problem. And everybody looked at me like I had a bone sticking out of my nose. I said, they have a quarterback problem because of how Carson Wentz is playing and what the issues are. I'm going to sit right here and tell you today, the Washington Commanders got a quarterback problem.
Yeah.
The Eagles, on the other hand, have a franchise quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Plain and simple.
And here's the beauty of this, Devin, because I mentioned it earlier in the show. The way this has evolved, they gave Carson Wentz a major contract, and they told everybody they drafted this guy because in case Carson got hurt, they would at least have a competent backup. Well, look how it's flipped. In a short amount of years, the guy that they thought was the franchise quarterback doesn't look like he can play anymore, and the guy they drafted didn't expect anything to happen with is now their franchise quarterback. It's just mind-blowing to me.
And you know what I love to see in this game? Like the comparison of the two. You really saw the difference in the mentality between Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts going into this game. I think we all know as Philadelphians, as Eagles fans, that Carson Wentz is someone who gets rattled easily. You can get in his head easily, not just by getting the pressure on him, but also Jalen Hurts can get in his head because we know Carson Wentz was thinking about everything that went down. Maybe you disagree with me. I think that it was in Carson Wentz's head heading into this game. I don't think it affected Jalen Hurts whatsoever. And that is a big reason why I've always loved Jalen Hurts, his mental strength. He never seems to get rattled, never affected by that. And I think today he proved that. He proved that he is the elite quarterback both mentally and physically and skill-wise and in every other category across the board.
Well, it helps that you're playing behind one of the top 3 offensive lines in the National Football League compared to your former franchise quarterback playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in the National Football League.
Okay, yeah.
But ever since 2017, Carson's game, for whatever reason, has deteriorated significantly to the point where he's got one foot out the door in terms of being considered a legitimate starting quarterback in the National Football League. It wasn't that long ago we were chastising this Eagles organization for taking a quarterback named Jalen Hurts in the second round when you still had a so-called franchise quarterback. But lo and behold, yeah, we didn't know at that time. Stop.
I wasn't.
I was.
I was
Here's
not.
the thing, that makes
We
me
didn't know at that time.
was
Wait
not.
a minute. Wait a minute. It
I can show you the
seems
film.
to
I was
me
not.
that Carson Wentz is affected by everything, which means the Eagles never read the room when they drafted Jalen Hurts, not thinking he was going to be affected by that. He obviously was affected by
You
that.
can't
Right,
worry
right.
about that.
Well, I
though.
understand that,
You
but I'm just
understand
speaking
what
of
I'm
who Carson Wentz is as a quarterback. He is affected by everything, which means like later now that he's later in his career, if he's still going to be affected by things, what kind of a quarterback is he?
No,
He's not a
exactly.
starting quarterback.
He's going to be a former quarterback.
Listen, I'm trying
Exactly.
I'm trying to tell you that the hardest thing for organizations who really don't understand the art of delving deeper into who and what a player really is that you can look at the metrics. You go to the combine. You can look at the metrics. You can watch a guy have his pro day throwing against air. Okay. There's another side of being a professional athlete, the mental side, and how you look at the game, okay? They draft Carson. They give Carson carte blanche. He's the guy. He knows he's the guy. They even go too far in letting him know that he's the guy instead of holding him accountable for certain things. Gave him too much power. And then he got to this point where he felt, entitled because he was the number 2 overall pick. And that you're gonna extend me the year before you had to, and all of those things. When you're looking at a guy like Jalen Hurts, nothing was expected of him other than to come in and be a backup quarterback. He had to come in and work for every single thing, and Carson Wentz was a guy that felt entitled to have every single thing, and that entitlement has led him to where he is right now. And Jalen Hurts' work ethic and the fact that nobody expected him to do anything has led him to where he is right now.
But if the same thing happened to Jalen Hurts now as a starting quarterback for the Eagles, I truly don't believe he would be affected whatsoever. And that is what makes him elite. The fact that Carson Wentz was so hurt and kind of put out by the fact that they drafted Jalen Hurts tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, but you know what the difference was for me? When Nick Sirianni was named the head coach, and he said, we have no starters, everyone's competing for a starting job, and Carson Wentz said, hey, I want out.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, for me, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, they just paid you $128 million. They want you to be the guy, okay? All you got to do is just show up. You're going to be the starter. And he wanted out because he did not want to compete.
You're right. So let's
look
at it.
That said, that was all I needed to see out of that guy to say, you know what? Moving.
You're absolutely right. Let's look at it sociologically. Okay, he's a North Dakota guy who never did anything wrong. He stood out as the best. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, was tempered by the fact that he played at major high-level programs, failed at one, went to another, and succeeded. There are 2 different heartbeats in there. And so when I look at Carson Wentz, I say, this is a guy that he, in a way, is like Ben Simmons. He has no self-awareness because he's making the same mistakes over and over again. How many times did we say he holds the ball too long? How many times did we say he doesn't protect the ball in the pocket when he's trying to wriggle out of there and he's going to turn it over? He is not aware of his flaws. So what kind of a franchise quarterback and a leader can he be?
Well, I think he could be aware of his faults, but maybe just not listening. That was part of the problem when he was here in Philadelphia. He stopped listening to instruction. He thought he was bigger than the moment. How many times did we hear the rumors out there that he was changing plays at the line of scrimmage and it was driving the coaching staff nuts? When you think you're bigger than the program, that's all of a sudden when things start to unravel for you. And look at where his career is right now.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is an afterthought. There was a time not that long ago when Carson Wentz was considered one of the up-and-coming elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now we're not too far from saying Carson Wentz is going to be a journeyman in the National Football League.
Deacon, I blame the Eagles organization for allowing that to happen. The player never gets there on his own. You don't come in here as a rookie, and take over from a power perspective. The Eagles allowed that to happen. And when they allowed that to happen, it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And the other thing is, see, to me, football should always be about meritocracy. And at the end of the day, it really isn't. What it really is all about, if you're the first round draft pick, okay, you're going to get 3 to 5 years to screw it up. If you're a 5th, 6th, 7th round draft pick, you better hurry up and make hay, because guess what? They're looking for the other guy. From my perspective, do you know how many times they drafted the guy that was supposed to come in and take my spot? I'm like, I have no problem with that. Bring him in. Not only am I going to train him and teach him the defense and the playbook, I'm going to mentor him and teach him everything that I know. And guess what? His ass is still sitting behind me, okay? Right. He's still going to be my backup. Now, that's the position that Carson Wentz should have took when they drafted Jalen Hurts. And I guarantee you, if they draft another quarterback, and they're probably in a position within the next year or two where they're probably going to draft another young quarterback, okay, in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. How he's just going to do that, okay? Then you have to ask yourself, is Jalen going to be moved emotionally by that? Hell no, because he's completely, he's wired.
If anything, he will be motivated, because Jalen Hurts has had to do it time and time again. He will outwork whoever else is in the room with him.
I would also go so far as to say you never know what Jalen Hurts is thinking anyway. I don't think you want to sit across a poker table from Jalen Hurts.
Here's what I was thinking.
You would know what he's thinking, and that's what his emotions are.
Here's what I was thinking about Carson Wentz. He was horrendous. Now, earlier, what word did I use in the start of the show? Carson Wentz what? He stinks.
He stinks.
All right, that's a Sports Talk Radio leftover. I apologize. I'll soften it. He was horrendous, and the Eagles win 24-8, and that was our diamond debate for today. Right?
Oh man!
Let's take a break. We'll come back and re-rack everything that we have been talking about today on the Pond La Hockey Eagles post-game show. That's Devin Caney. I'm Mike Missinelli.
Look at those earrings, Mike.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Going off the bling one last time.